Sonic Shadow is an interactive sound and light instrument I developed in the 80s. It began with a number of conversations I had with John Cage, thinking about the fundamental relationship between dance and music. I was aware of the relationship where a dancer follows the music, as in traditional ballet. To me, this was almost a live animation concept. The music literally enhances the dancer's movements. But I was also aware of the Cage and Cunningham ideas, that dance has its own music, a visual music, and music has its own dance, creating images in the mind. I was looking for a way to create a piece that might use both these strong aesthetics. So I built an interactive environment where the dancer triggers the sound. Here the dancer actually participates in making the music through movement. I wanted the music to be like an invisible costume which was molded by the dancer's body, moving and changing as the performer moved. I observed how this condition empowered the dancer, giving a new sense of control over his or her musical accompaniment, and how this change brought a different energy to the live dance music performance. With some recent developments in technology, I decided to create a new version of Sonic Shadow. What follows are some excerpts from a workshop with Boston Ballet principal dancers Kathleen Breen-Coombs and Yuri Yanowski, together with other members of the corps, and a few of my favorite live instruments, the tabla and the cello. The instrument is composed of a live video camera on stage wired to my computer. Any dancer moving in front of the camera and the light grid triggers patterns of sound and light. It is as if the dancer is the right hand on the guitar plucking the strings, and I am the left hand deciding what the melodic and harmonic content will be. Within the work, I thought there should always be different characters on stage, from actual musicians to a chorus of dancers to the dancer musicians who play the instrument to the changing character of the instrument itself. But once I established this idea in the piece, I saw I needed to push it farther. I wanted to pull the music and movement apart, letting them each go in different directions, first creating a variation on certain themes, then bouncing back and forth between the sonic shadow of both the music and the movement patterns. There you go, pattern. Okay. Kathleen? With this version of the instrument, I am able to capture a dancer's movement sequence in sound and loop it. The dancer can then dance to her own dancing, or in a sense, dance with her sonic shadow, together with live percussionists. In this section, I capture the movements of 4 dancers, each with a different sound. I then layer the sounds over one another as the performers create layered patterns of their own. It's just that very simple concept of interactivity. You have to get the audience to buy into it. And you have to almost be too simple. At a certain moment, you feel, you get the audience to understand the concept, and then from there, you can take off. And we can do things like we have the loop, where all of a sudden the machine is playing by itself, which if you didn't have the introduction, you might say, okay, well, that's a tape. You have to sort of establish this condition, but then I think at that point you then have to then push it and stretch it.
It's a very interesting sensation. As a dancer, I've spent my whole life dancing to music, being on a certain count, playing with the music that is already written. And so you enter this machine where you are all of a sudden in control of the music. So it's a very interesting sensation, and it's something that took quite a bit of time for us to get used to. But there's a certain amount of empowerment to it as well. All of a sudden you're in control of all of these things. So it's a wonderful feeling.
It was hard because I had to always come and work with Chris and discover the machine. And it's fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
It's with your movement, your body movement, so
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible. And the possibilities that
Mm-hmm.
that we have is pretty much endless.
Mm-hmm. What fascinates me is sort of like, we are locked in together. So at times, I'm, as a musician, I also have to say, well, could you try to move like this? And at times, Yuri and Kathleen say, well, okay, for this movement, could we have this kind of sound? But it is that notion of real collaboration that intrigues me. that one of us can't do it without the other. I think that that is a way to find some new material and sort of a new direction in the relationship between music and dance.